Well, hello, boys and girls. It is Mr. Brisson. Yes, yes. How are you today? Are you having a nice day? Of course you are. Why would a fourth grader be having a bad day? Well, I am having a great day today, and I am very happy to be here with you to do some science. And I know that you are too, because science is everywhere. And science is fun, and science offers explanations for everything around us. And last time, do you remember? What did we explore last time? That's right, advances in transportation. And we looked at how the car became safer and safer and safer, how engineers improved existing technology from the cars that had no seat belts and no airbags, and the brakes didn't work as well, to many things that were added to the automobile to make it much more safe for the consumers, us, the consumers. Today, we're going to look at something different, but still, we're going to be concentrating on advances, how engineers have improved on existing technology. And today, it has to do with food. How is food technology? Well, let's look at the learning target. So our learning target is, I can explain how food production has improved, providing benefits, decreasing risks, and meeting demand. So food production, okay? We all need food to survive, and we all have to eat every day, right? So today we're gonna look at how food production has improved and how it also, as it improved, it has provided benefits and it has decreased risks, and it met the demand for food, the demand that humans have for food, okay? So let's get started. So what I would like you to do first, boys and girls, is I want you to think of how did humans in the past, not like 100 years ago, but way, way, way back, how did they get the food that they needed to eat? Okay, so today we go to the supermarket and we buy food, right? We go to a corner store and we buy food. But how did humans in the past, okay, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, how did they get the food that they needed to live, to survive, okay? So please think about that and write a little explanation there in your notebooks as to how humans used to get the food that they needed. Time to think and write. All right, so time to share now. What do you guys write down? How did humans used to get the food that they needed to live? Time to share. Share with your classmates, or if you're at home, share with your mom or dad, or with a little sister or little brother, or big sister or big brother. Share with somebody. And if not, just talk to yourself and explain everything that you wrote down. I'm sure you had some great things to share. But let me make sure that we are on the right track here. So 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, how did people get, for example, the meat that they needed for protein? How did they do that? They couldn't go to the supermarket and buy meat. So how did they do that? Well, they went hunting, right? They hunted for food. And how did they get the fruit and the vegetables that they needed? Well, they went around in the forest and they collected them, right? They gathered them in baskets, and that's how they got the food that they needed. They basically got it from the plants that were already there, right? And the animals that were already there. But something happened at some point, right? And we call it agriculture. What is agriculture? Well, let's look at the definition of agriculture. So does anybody know what agriculture is? I'm sure some of you know, but let's look at the definition. So right here it says agriculture is another word for farming, okay? It includes both growing and harvesting crops and raising animals or livestock. Agriculture provides the food and many raw materials that humans need to survive. So basically, agriculture is farming, right? We plant the food that we need. So we plant seeds and then we harvest later. So it's planting and harvesting. And we also grow certain animals like chickens and cows in the United States, but in other countries they eat other animals, and they grow those animals specifically for food. Okay, so we don't have to go hunting. They are grown specifically for that food, and then we have these big companies, right, that they are transported to the supermarkets where we buy them, right? But today we are looking at how food production, okay, how farming has improved throughout the years to make it safer and to make it cheaper, right? And to make it more available for humans. So let me show you what I want you to do next. Okay, so I want you to click on this website, DK History, Early Farming, okay? And what this does is, let me click on it. It gives you sort of like a time frame, okay, of how farming has changed through the years, okay? I think this will really give you some good background information about farming, and especially this chart over here offers, you see, 9,000 BC, 8,000 BC, all the way to the first early part of farming, and how it changed through the years, okay? So I would like you to please take a few minutes. It's not extremely long, okay? So to read this article that is titled History, Early Farming. I really like this paragraph here. How did farming change people's lives? So it says, before farming, people lived by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants. We already talked about that, right? When supplies ran out, these hunters gathered and gatherers moved on. So they moved on to a place where there was more food, more animals to hunt. Farming meant that people did not need to travel to find food. Instead, they began to live in settled communities and grew crops or raised animals on nearby land. They built stronger, more permanent homes and surrounded their settlements with walls to protect them. So farming meant that, or agriculture, right, meant that food was readily available. They didn't have to go places and follow where the food was. The food was right there next to their homes. There's another paragraph here that I like to read because it really explains, right? Since our target today is how food production has improved, right? So we can see that even 9,000 years ago, it was improving and improving. Actually, that's not 9,000 years ago. That's 11,000 years ago. So by around 9,000 BC, people were storing grain during winter. then sowing them in especially cleared plots. By 8000 BC, the farmers had discovered which grains gave the best yields. So they discovered which grains gave the best harvest and selected these for planting. They produced more food than they needed and were able to feed non-farmers such as craft workers and traders. The farmers exchanged their food for various kinds of useful or decorative goods. So now they were not only producing food for themselves, for the farmers that planted the crops, they were actually producing extra, and they could feed other workers that did not plant. The workers that were doing other things, they could exchange the food for things that those workers had. So they were producing more than they needed themselves. And so we can see how this is improving. And they did this by choosing the best grains. So what advancements in farming do we have today that has made food cheaper, safer, more available for everyone? So what has happened in farming? Because the population of our planet has really increased, and we need to provide food for everyone, right? I mean, all humans need food to survive. So how has farming improved? So there is this really cool video called Farming Technologies video. Okay, I want you to click on that. And that video is going to give you, I think it's like 15. I think it's something like 15. Let me see. Yeah, it's like 15 modern farming technologies that are super cool. So I want you to watch that video, and as you watch the video, I want you to take notes, okay? So take notes and make a list of the 5, okay? The 5 that you think are the most impressive. The 5 technologies that you think are super impressive about farming. So they mentioned 15, but just write 5 down, okay? So these are all improvements in farming, in agriculture, okay, to make food readily available for humans, more available, easier to get. So watch the video and take notes. Well, those are some pretty cool things that are happening in farming. We've come a long way from many thousand years ago to today, huh? So what I want you to do now, well, let's take a look at the learning target one more time. So the learning target is I can explain how food production has improved, providing benefits, decreasing risks, and meeting demand. So I can explain how food production has improved, right? It has provided us humans, the consumers, with many benefits. It has decreased risks, and it has been able to feed a lot more people. So, based on what you know now from the article and from the video, can you write a paragraph? What I'd like you to do is write a paragraph explaining how food production has improved over time. So that would be your what do you call it? Your prompt, right? Like a writing prompt. Your science writing prompt would be, I can explain how food production has improved over the years, okay? So write a paragraph about that, and that would prove to you and your teacher that you got the learning target. Now, if you have time, you can share what you wrote down with your classmates, with somebody at home, with your teacher, and we've come to the end of the lesson. So next lesson, we're gonna talk about communication. Okay, so we've talked about transportation, we've explored food production. Next time is gonna be communications, okay? Advances in communication. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Remember that science is everywhere. Look for it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.